What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today you're talking sports with MG Nas. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to the channel if y'all new, and hit that notification bell so that way y'all don't miss any of the uploads or live streams that's coming away. Obviously, this is my first real video back as far as talking sports, so we're going to get right into it. But before we get into the Eagles topic, ladies and gentlemen, as y'all know, the regular background behind me, that's going to be coming back soon. But I didn't want to wait for all that and to get all that back with me, so I'm going to just drop some videos for y'all. But just know the regular setup is going to be back, so don't even worry about none of that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into today's video, man. So obviously, as you guys know, diehard Eagles fan, and the Eagles have come off to a hot start. They started off 5-0, and I waited for this to make this video after the Cardinals game. I was gonna drop it 2 days before the Cardinals game, but I'm like, you know what? Let's wait. Let's see what happened in the Cardinals game, because as y'all can tell by the title, are the Eagles frauds? Are the Eagles fraudulent? Is this team making us, fooling us? Or is this team making us believe in something that's really not gonna be once we start playing better competition, as some may say? So from an Eagles fan standpoint, I'm going to give you my opinion, but I'm not going to sit here and just be biased and say all this stuff. I'm going to give y'all my honest opinion on the team. So let's start off with some of the fraudulent takes that people might have. Some people might say competition. Some people might say, look at that game versus the Lions. Some people might say whatever the case may be. And I want to start off with the level of competition, because that's been one of the biggest knocks on the Eagles season, is that, well, yeah, you're 4-0 and now 5-0, but who have you really played? Who have you played that's actually worth giving you a credible win against? And let's start off with the Lions game, because that's what everyone's talking about. Oh, you started off 1-0 against the Lions. And while, yes, the Lions are 1-4 right now, but before this last week against the Patriots, and I'm not going to hype up the Lions, but the Lions have been playing solid offensive football, but their defense is not the greatest, so that's why they can't come out and win games. And the Eagles took advantage of that week one. I don't think that that's a game where, the Eagles are going to be talking about, through in the next month or two and be like, yeah, they got that big win versus the Lions. Obviously not. But, I wouldn't just completely downplay that victory, because the Lions, before they got shut out, surprisingly, versus the Patriots, the Lions have been playing really good offense, and the Eagles obviously were just able to expose their defensive weaknesses. So whatever. But, people are going to criticize that win no matter what I say, so that's fine. But let's move on to week two. The Minnesota Vikings won. Now, the Vikings, I believe, are 4-1 right now, and the only team that they lost to was the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think that win deserves more respect than I believe some people are giving it. When you look at the Vikings, Justin Jefferson has been on an absolute tear. The only game where he has gotten completely shut down was against the Philadelphia Eagles and Darius Slay and the secondary and company. Shout out to Jonathan Gannon, even though he had me scared at some points against Arizona. Jonathan Gannon had a really good game plan of how he, was matching up Justin Jefferson. And obviously, Darius Slay gets a lot of the credit too, because, one of the best corners in football. You got to obviously line them up on multiple possessions versus their best receiver. And Kirk Cousins, obviously playing from behind, had to try to get the ball to Justin Jefferson if they wanted a chance to come back and win. And Darius Slay was on it. Darius Slay was not having it. He was not going to just let Justin Jefferson embarrass him in any way, shape, or form. And, that's a credit to the Eagles defense. That's a credit to Jonathan Gannon. For the only game I really credit Jonathan Gannon. And that's a credit to Darius Slay. He really played well, and that if it's a game this season that I'll have to point to that will point to the Eagles not being fraudulent, is that game right there. Because one thing good teams are able to do is they're able to limit the other team's best player, and that's what the Eagles were able to do. They were able to limit the other team's best player offensively. Also was able to slow down Dalvin Cook, did not let him get any rhythm early, so that's what you want to see there. Let's move on. The Eagles played the Washington Commanders. They suck. I get it. I think they're worse than the Lions. Matter of fact, they are worse than the Detroit Lions. They're the only team the Detroit Lions have beaten this season. So if you want to say that win means nothing, I'm all open to saying that. Carson Wentz has not been consistent at all this season. Jahan Dotson's been fine. Terry McLaurin's been, I guess, Terry McLaurin, but that team just doesn't have enough talent to compete. And the talent they do have is just being wasted on that roster. So if you want to say the Commanders win, you can absolutely take that out. Because, at least the Lions, they've been fighting at certain games with the Commanders. They just been getting embarrassed over the last few weeks, and they deserve it. They deserve to be embarrassed, and they deserve to be an uncredited win. So fine, let's take away the whole Commanders win. You guys can have that one. Now, the Jaguars, the Jacksonville Jaguars, people were talking about leading up to that week, how Trevor Lawrence is having such a good season throughout the first few weeks of the season. Trevor Lawrence, the Eagles, James Robinson's having an amazing year. Now, I want to say James Robinson probably should have gotten the ball a little bit more when they were up 14-0. But the reason why I'm not going to take away that win from the Eagles is because the fact that Trevor Lawrence was getting so much hype going into that game, and then after that game, it's like, oh, he wasn't ready, oh, he's still young, or no, Trevor Lawrence is not that good. And that's the problem that I have with the Jaguars game is the most. It's not the fact that the Eagles are down 14-0. It's not the fact that the Eagles had to fight out a victory in the second half or the second quarter for real. It's the fact that people are discrediting that win because they had this perspective on the Jaguars after we beat them that they're the same old Jaguars. But the week before that, the Jaguars were a team the Eagles had to watch out for a possible upset. So the consistency and some of the fraudulent takes when it comes to that does not make sense to me. So, but good game, Jacksonville. That was Hassan Reddick. That was really his game defensively. But, shout out to that win. And then let's go on to the last win yesterday, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I believe the Eagles, you can say the Vikings won, but I believe this was the best win of the Eagles season. And it's not because we had our best performance. It's not because we had a perfect game on both ends of the ball. It's because we had to grind this one out against a team that has potential. Now, I agree that the Cardinals have not been playing up to their potential this year. More so Kyler Murray. I believe he's been a little inconsistent to start the year. And I think whether you like Kyler Murray or not, he has that potential, but he hasn't played up to it as much as he should have in certain games this year. The Raiders game, Kyler Murray was amazing. But in the Panthers, Kyler Murray beat them, but that's the Panthers. But Kyler Murray hasn't been playing up to his standards. But other than the interception, Kyler Murray was giving the Eagles trouble. He was making some nice passes after he threw that pick. He was scrambling, made a nice pass on the sideline where he had to roll out, made a little sidearm pass to A.J. Green. Kyler Murray was giving the Eagles problems, especially throughout the second quarter and on, especially getting into that fourth quarter. And Kyler Murray drove them in the field goal range, but the Eagles, hey, man. Actually, before I even get into the field goal, I was going to call it a missed field goal, but technically, we seen a replay, and actually, Milton Williams tipped that on the line. So Milton Williams tipped that to change the trajectory on the football, which caused the miss. Shout out to Milton Williams. The little special teams things that matters. But what I mean about the Eagles having to grind this one out is when you look at before the missed field goal from the Arizona Cardinals, the drive that the Eagles had to put themselves up by 3 points was a gutsy drive by Hurts and the run game. You talk about consistently running the ball. Miles Sanders having a good drive on that possession. You talking about Jalen Hurts, getting it done. His QB sneaks on short yardage situations really come in clutch on multiple drives. And I believe once or twice on that drive as well. And when you also look at that drive where the Eagles went up 20-17, Hurts, I believe on a third down and long, made a gutsy pass to Goddard. He had a little bit of pressure in his face, kind of had to let the ball go, and Goddard, man, fighting for the extra yards, 2-3 extra yards to get that first down. That was a gutsy drive by the Eagles, a really grind it out, go down and get some points on the board type of drive from the Philadelphia Eagles. And Cameron Dicker, who we signed, because Jake Elliott, our Pro Bowl kicker right now, is out. Cameron Dicker was able to get it done for us, man. And this is why I feel like the Eagles aren't fraudulent, because you've seen that they were able to face adversity versus Jacksonville. They were able to go down and get a gutted out drive against the Cardinals. You see what they were able to do to the best player on the Vikings. And I think those points have to be made towards the Eagles not being fraudulent. Now, the Eagles, have they played the best teams in the world? No, and I'm not going to hype up these teams like we played 3 back-to-back Super Bowl contenders. But at the end of the day, the Eagles have played some decent teams and some amazing players throughout this season, and I feel like it's getting a little bit too discredited. So I wanted to come on here, talk about it, obviously from an Eagles fan perspective, because I've watched every single game. I watched our bad plays, I watched our good plays. The only game that I didn't watch every single play from was the Washington game. I was out during that game, but I still made sure I got to watch as much as I could of that game. So y'all know I basically have watched everything the Eagles have done this year. So I wanted to give my perspective on if they were a fraudulent, undefeated team. Now, will they say undefeated for the whole season? Probably not, but I do definitely think the Eagles are a good team. They should be acknowledged as a good team, one of the top teams in the league right now, and I think they should be acknowledged as that. But guess what? It's Dallas week. We're going to see Dallas's really good defense. We'll see how the Eagles perform this week. I have some videos coming out throughout the week and some live streams maybe about what we're going to do and how we're going to handle this Dallas Cowboys matchup. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that content. Also, we got Sixers content on the way, so make sure you guys get ready for that. That means you got to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos, man, or live streams that we're going to be having on the way. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for me. I appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until next time, you've been talking sports with MG Nas, and I'm out. Peace.